the last 35 years. And we've talked about what it means to try to become the best versions of ourselves. But I think that there's a lesson to be taken here from nature. When a cell in the body becomes the best version of itself, it doesn't just stand there. It is guided through a kind of natural intelligence to where it might be best of service. Some are assigned to the pancreas, and some are assigned to the lungs, and some are assigned to the bones, some are assigned to the heart. And they are assigned in such a way that they then collaborate with other cells, so that together they serve the healthy functioning of the organ and the organism of which they are part. So the highest actualization of each cell is in its collaboration with other cells to serve something higher than them both. Now, every once in a while, a cell, for reasons that science understands to some extent, to some others' extent do not understand, a cell disconnects from its natural intelligence, and it goes off to do its own thing. It's not going to concern itself with the healthy functioning of the pancreas or the lungs or the heart. It wants to build its own kingdom, and it knows some other cells who act the same way that it does. That's called cancer. That's a malignancy. And that kind of energy is not only a malignancy in the body, it's a malignancy in consciousness. And that is what has happened to the human race. The human race has been infected with a malignant consciousness, the thought that it's all about me. That is not the spiritual mountaintop, ladies and gentlemen, that you can manifest your dreams. Adolf Hitler manifested his dreams. The high spiritual mountaintop is not just that you can have what you want, or you can have what you want, or you can have what you want. The highest spiritual mountaintop is that we can be something so much grander than what we are now. The whole point of life is not just to serve your personal goals, but to serve the ages. And it is that evolution from what do I want to what do we need, that evolution to it's just about me to it's about us, forms the crux of the evolutionary movement at this point, which will determine whether or not humanity survives. You know, every single species comes to a point where if its behavior is maladaptive for its survival, it will either mutate, it will either evolve, or it will go extinct. And it's only the most magical thinking which leads any of us to believe that that doesn't apply to our species also. And yet our species is behaving in maladaptive ways. We fight too much, and we are at war against our own habitat. Now, in every species, what happens, if it does survive, is a mutation arrives. And in spiritual terms, the mutations are the great spiritual masters. The mutations are the great religious and spiritual figures who have arrived on the planet and basically demonstrated, not only expressed with their words, but demonstrated with their behavior another way. And of course, the miracle says the change begins when we consider the possibility there might be another way. You know, many people in the transformational field have, either through our own lives or the lives of people that we love, become very sophisticated about how addiction operates, how drugs and alcohol operate. And one of the things that you know if you've been close enough to that world, so whether it's drugs or alcohol, immoderate use, addictive use can lead to the death of the physical body. What you realize about drugs and alcohol is that the survival of the physical body is not guaranteed. It's time for us to awaken from our magical thinking. The survival of our democracy is not guaranteed, and the survival of the human race is not guaranteed either.